I'm Andy Murch and I'm on a mission to photograph all of the accessible sharks and rays around the world. I'm currently in Brazil, diving in the Rio Salobra Delta, which is a fantastic spot to find freshwater stingrays. There are at least 4 species of rays that live here, and over the last few days I've had some great encounters with, I think, 3, possibly 4 species of rays. The most abundant ray in the Rio Salobra is the Peacock River Stingray, also known as the Oscillate River Stingray. It's found throughout the Paraguay River Basin and also further north in the Amazon Basin. So it's a very wide-ranging ray with bright orange spots that usually have a white center and a black ring around the edge. Another ray found in this area that looks like the peacock ray is Amanda's river stingray, or Amanda's freshwater stingray. This is almost identical and very, very hard to tell apart, but it doesn't have the white spots in the center of the ocelli on its back. So that's one indication. There's also morphological differences as well, but telling them apart is so difficult that I'm still not quite sure about my IDs, and I'm going to have to go and see an expert here in Campo Grande who's going to give me some more information and hopefully tell me if I managed to get both species or if I actually only got the peacock ray. Another ray that's really common in the Rio Salobra is the large spot river stingray. It actually has very small golden spots, but it's easily distinguishable from all of the other rays that live in the area. I've photographed them before in the Rio Triste, so this was nothing new to me, but it was really nice to see them in this environment, and there were certainly lots of them here. So that was another great ray to add to the list from this area. There's a section of the Rio Salobra that splits into 3 separate thin channels. While exploring one of those channels that's kind of deeper and a little bit darker, I came across a ray that I didn't really recognize, and it turned out it was Schumacher's freshwater stingray. Sometimes this one's also called the Piranha freshwater stingray or the Rosette river stingray. It was pretty exciting to see this ray. It's got some really interesting markings. Some of them have kind of a honeycomb pattern. Others have like a swirling kind of scroll work all over them. Really, really cool looking ray. And I saw, I think, 4 or 5 of them. I ran the IDs by some Brazilian researchers that I know, and it turns out that this is potentially the first time these have been photographed in the wild. So that was really, really exciting. The diving is not without its perils here. You're flying down a river really, really quickly, and it's quite shallow. You never know if you're going to hit a log jam underwater. It's dark. Although you're close to the surface, you get caught in a jam, it's going to be pretty hard to kind of like prise yourself away from it with the pressure of the water. So that's always a concern. The freshwater stingrays themselves are not particularly dangerous. You wouldn't want to tread on one in the shallows, but while you're swimming along, they don't really pose much of a threat. I'm far more concerned about running into a jaguar as I'm swimming along the edge of the river. Jaguars are not especially common in this area, but they are seen here. And when I'm swimming along close to the bank, I'm pretty easy pickings. When the boat is far enough behind me that it's not even in sight, then that is a little worrying. There were lots of other things to see underwater as well. Obviously there were caimans. Great to see some caimans. Not super dangerous because there are only Jacare caimans here. If I were further north in one of the other rivers in the Amazon basin, for example, I'd be coming across the potential for black caiman, which are absolutely enormous and quite terrifying. But the caiman that live here are relatively docile. As well as the rays, there's tons of other little fish in the river. It was lovely to see these walls of fish. And even without the fish, just swimming along at the sides of the river and watching the shards of light playing through the canopy and shining down on the spooky dark environment underneath was just a really, really interesting and quite a powerful scene. You really got a sense of how different this world is compared to swimming around in the ocean. I only found one ray that was actually buried under the substrate. All of the others were either sitting on top or slowly foraging, wandering around looking for food. They're relatively easy to approach, but they do take off after a few seconds. If they bolt upriver, it's all over because it's impossible to fight the strong currents. But if they go downriver, you can kind of drift after them as carefully as you can, and as soon as they start to settle again, then you get a chance to get close and actually get some photos. It's pretty challenging, but not so challenging that it can't be done. And then sit there trying to like hold against the current, which is the most challenging part. I could see a couple of rays that were actually using their pelvic fins, the little fins which are only just about visible under the disc at the sides of the tail. They were using them to actually walk along the bottom to kind of like push themselves along against the current. And that was really interesting to see. So it's been a great trip. 3, possibly 4 species of rays, 2, perhaps 3 of which I can add to sharksandrays.com as new species. And from here, I'm heading up to the Amazon River, flying into Manaus to meet some guests to run a pink dolphin trip, which should be a lot of fun. And while I'm there, of course, I'm going to be looking for more stingrays. Thanks for joining me. It's been really fun, and I'll see you on the next one.